Welcome to the Canal, Steam and Yorkshire Dales trip run by the National Holidays Bus Company.
There are two buttons in the bathroom. One is for the flusher and one is for the water flow for the sink unit. Again, please don't put baby wipes or anything like that down the toilet. It'll just bung the system up and then it'll have action. There is also a first aid kit and a fire extinguisher located underneath the front seats at the front of the coach.
So we've arrived at Skipton after just an hour and a half on the bus. It would have been a bit quicker, but the traffic was quite bad approaching Skipton. Now, as for the bus journey itself, the bus is absolutely packed, so there's not one spare seat on the whole bus trip. And I was surprised that you travel by train and you think, oh, you're quite hemmed in on a train, but actually on this bus here, there wasn't a lot of leg room. And what's another annoying thing is that the seats actually recline, and the person in front of us did actually recline their seat, which meant that you got even less leg room. So literally you couldn't move once you were in your seat, which is not ideal. Now the bus itself is, I wouldn't have said it's an old bus. I mean, it's got a 14 plate on it, but there's no sort of facilities. Not that, I mean, it's a short trip, so you didn't particularly need coffee and tea, etc. But there isn't any facilities. There are toilets, but obviously they do recommend you don't use them because obviously they don't want to clean them out afterwards. But I suppose in emergency, if you really needed to use them, you can do. But anyway, so we've been departed. The other thing I'll say about the holiday is that although we know what we booked and we knew what was around, or what we were due to do, it didn't actually say what you're doing at what time. And even when we got on the bus and got set off, we sort of didn't know what we're doing first, what we're doing second. As it happens, when we've arrived here, we've been told that we've got about an hour and a half of free time before we're due to meet up for the Canal trip, and I'm guessing that the train will then be tomorrow, but you haven't got a sort of laid out itinerary, so if that's what you like, you'll certainly miss that. But if you don't mind the sort of freedom to just do what they say, as and when, then you may prefer that. Anyway, time to go around Skipton. We've got just over an hour and a half of free time before we meet for the Canal trip. So let's have a look round. Time for a trip on the Cobbydale. So this is part of the bus trip that we're doing this weekend. So there's the Canal trip, obviously the steam train trip to come another day, and also a trip around the Dales, which I suppose is what Skipton is. So yeah, time to get on. Okay, so we've just joined the boat trip. Interesting that the price for the boat trip is £8 per person. It's for an hour. Not sure where we're going, doesn't say, but obviously down the canal and back up again, or up the canal and back down again, depending which way we go. It's obviously full, just from our bus trip. I don't think there's anybody else on this. I don't believe so. So just sat around for a few minutes while everybody finished boarding. Now we're off. So yeah, Skipton boat trips and day hire, that's what we're on. The boat has got toilet on board and also got a bar, so you can go up there and get a drink, although I'd imagine they'll probably do some sort of table service, but we shall see. Plenty of history as you walk along as you sail along the canal. Really, really peaceful. But yeah, sort of history of old mills and new houses as well that's been interspersed. Some nice properties. More apartments and another old mill that's been converted into apartments. And here we are, it's just gone 3 o'clock, so back to the bus park and rejoining the bus because the time was 3:15, and noticed that pretty much most people are already on the bus, so quite early really. And then the next stop, according to the driver, who's told us that we're going straight to the hotel. So that's quite early really. I mean, it's probably about 20 minutes to the hotel from here. If it's a hotel that I think we're staying at, probably going to be there for about just after 3:30. Anyway, we'll see, but onto the bus it is. Evening of day one, so we've had a good day. We're just about to have dinner, that's at 7 o'clock. The one thing I will note is that when we arrived at the hotel, we was told that dinner is 7 o'clock, breakfast is 8 o'clock in the morning, bus leaves at 9:15. Now obviously I realise that you've got to have times when to make sure the bus leaves on time, particularly in the morning, but to have dinner at 7, and you didn't have an option if some people who want to come earlier or some people who want to maybe eat later. It really is a case of you eat at the time that they've given you. So it is very regimented in the sort of structure of the trip, which will suit some people. I mean, some people may not mind. If you like that flexibility to do what you want yourself, then maybe that will bother you, but that's certainly how it is, that you are called to the time that they need you, and of course you go as a group, so everything is done as a group. But anyway, we'll see what dinner has to hold. So here we are at dinner, and this is the menu. I'm not sure if it can be read very clearly, but you do have 3 options for starter, 3 options for main course, and 3 options for pudding, so or sweet. So yeah, that's quite good.
Okay, so we end the day after a very nice evening meal. It really was nice. And just a quick look back really over the day. So it was a short bus journey into Skipton. We didn't have a long time in Skipton. The canal trip was very, very nice. But I have to say, if anything, the disappointment was actually being taken to the hotel at 3:30 in the afternoon. Arriving there and then having almost 4 hours to wait till dinner. We could have spent a lot more time in Skipton. There was a market day. We only really had about an hour free time either side of the canal trip before it was time to get back on the bus and be brought to the hotel. And again, with it being such a nice day, it's a shame. Yeah, we could look around the hotel, we can be in the gardens as we are now, but it would have been nicer to have stayed out, certainly in Skipton, for a little bit longer. Anyway, this is the end of day 1, and thank you very much for watching. Please check the next video, because it'll be day 2. See you soon.